Hey everyone, welcome to the Expat Woman Show. My name is Nyna Caputi. I'm the founder and CEO of the Expat Woman, a global platform to provide resources, support, and community to women living abroad. And I'm also the host of the Expat Woman Show, which streams live on YouTube, Facebook, and what's the third one? LinkedIn, and also is going to be a podcast in the future. And today I'm very excited to have my guest, Victoria Mertens, joining us all the way from Stuttgart, Germany. And she is the founder of Family Goes for Career, an expat partner coach, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but equine learning
Fine. Yeah.
facilitator. So, Victoria, I'm going to have you share a little bit more about yourself, what
Yes.
you do, and your expat journey, and then we'll continue with the other questions. And I just want to welcome everyone who's joining us live.
So thank you for having the chance to be here. That's so nice, Nina. Um, I'm Victoria Mertens, and maybe you hear it a little bit. I'm a German, and I'm a so-called, I think it's called a repat now. I spent 3 years in Portland, Oregon, in the States from 2017 to 2020, which was a very deep time for me and changed a lot in my life. So normally I'm a teacher. I'm an elementary school teacher, and but now being back in Europe, in Germany, I found that there is a kind of maybe a special call if you have ever been an expat. Yeah, you feel connected to expats as well, and I think there's something to do to help and to support, and that's what I want to do at the moment. I focus a little bit more on the expat partners because I have been the partner. So it was our overseas adventure was due to the expat assignment of my husband. And I think there's a special dynamic if you're the partner. But of course, I think there are a lot of things that really are related to both, even solo expats as well. Yeah, so I have a daughter. She's now 15, and she grew up a little bit. She's a kind of third culture kid, of course, and she's still in the American language more than me. And the time in Portland had a great impact on her life, of course. And yeah, that's me.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Victoria, and for sharing your story. And yes, you are a repat, which also makes it pretty interesting, right? Because you've experienced both living in another country and then moving back to your country of origin after experiencing what it's like living abroad. So, I'm very curious about, the topic of today's interview, which is feeling safe, equine facilitated learning for expat partners.
Mhm.
I'm sure just like me, there are many in the audience who'd like to know what is equine facilitated learning and how did you get into this field?
Okay, of course. It sounds a little bit unfamiliar, I know. So it's a special coaching approach that includes the interaction between horses and humans in a very authentic and natural way. So it's you don't need any experience with horses for that. It's about that it only happens at the ground. You don't learn about something what you have to do with the horse. You learn more about yourself, and it's a kind of encounter between horses and humans in a safe environment, of course, with a safe horse. They're special horses, not aggressive ones, and we call it a round pen. It's a kind of circle with fences around, where a client who is prepared for, of course, the main reactions of a horse um, is just going into this fence and having the chance to get in touch in a very quiet environment with the horse and to yeah see what happens with the horse, what happens with him or herself. And So the main thing about this approach is, maybe if you're a little bit interested in horses, or some people hearing about it, they know a lot. Oh, it's about body language with the horses. You have to do that and then that. And to be honest, that's only the second part what happens. The first part is which makes it so effective for coaching, that horses communicate with their nervous system. Very, very subtle, because they're flight animals. It would not make sense for them to be very loud or with a um, very complicated body language. It's really very, very subtle, and they're the real masters for hidden emotions, and that makes it really so helpful.
And how were you always like? Did you ride horses growing up? Because I
Yeah,
see a photograph of a horse, like a picture of a horse behind you and a
yeah,
rider, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I love that. So, yeah, so you were always interested in horses. Did you,
Sure, sure.
what's your history with horses?
So I grew up, not really grew up. It's my parents didn't buy me a horse, even if I wanted to have it. But um, I grew up in the sense, like being a typical riding girl, up to 10 years old. And so, yes, I think it's more than 30, 40 years now. I've always to do with horses, but the typical thing, like being told how to ride. And I always had this feeling, there's more. There must be more. There's a kind of special bond. And I always wanted to learn more about that. And then I read some very good books from Linda Kohanov, and she's really the leading person in this EFL scene. And it helped me so much to get in touch with a special thinking about the bond. And I never thought that I would ever had the chance to learn to know her. And then when I was in Portland after a couple of months, feeling not so good as I expected, because
Mhm.
there are these feelings of being still isolated a little bit, and yeah, still being the stranger.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that. And then I realized, okay, it's only 2 flight hours, which is for American not very not very far away, for a European, of course. But I got the chance to go there for a workshop, and then I went for the apprenticeship, because I wanted to become an EFL instructor, because I really felt, only with one workshop, there happened so much in me, that I wanted to be there again and to learn more about it. And so, yeah, it fulfilled me more than my riding career.
That's really interesting, and I was reading up a little bit about, this whole equine facilitated learning and how, as you were saying, you don't even think about it, but so I assumed it was riding horses, but it's really working with the horses and how they help your nervous system. And I was curious, are you the only equine facilitated learning coach for expats, or is this a common thing? Do you know? Because I'm sure people use equine facilitated learning for various mental health issues. And
Yeah.
so I was just curious, do you have any idea about this, and why do you think it helps expat partners or expats, and how did it help you? I know it's a
Yeah.
long question, but I have so many questions for you because this is really fascinating.
I know.
So go ahead and share.
I don't know if there's anybody else. I know a lot about this EFL. It's not always called EFL. So it's sometimes in Germany we have special names for it. And you have sometimes, as you told me, more about mental health issues, or kids with learning disabilities, what I did before with the EFL. Um, but maybe it's only that I'm really a kind of founder for using it as for expats or expat partners, because I experienced it in this situation, and I could directly transfer it to my situation. And so I thought, oh, that is really helpful. So maybe I'm the one. Yeah, that's one question. So how did it help me? So first, of course, when I went for the first workshop and wanted to be an instructor, that of course was an external motivation, but the internal was more, because I just told you it was just be in touch with the horses in a different way, without being the student who has to do something. That brought me a kind back to myself. And then the combination in the apprenticeship with learning a lot, what happened really, learning about my nervous system, brought me to the thought, okay, now I know why I was so much, maybe you know it a little bit when you're the new one, when you move abroad, everything is new. Everything. So people who didn't move abroad don't know what that means. But your nervous system is always like a sentinel, like looking and watching, oh, is there something dangerous or not? Because everything which is old and familiar, is decoded as it's good, even if it's not, but it's familiar. And everything new can be danger. And so your nervous system is really on a high level. And that is long, not only for 1 or 2 weeks. Maybe we think that, or because, oh, when I go for a vacation 2 weeks, it's okay. And then I go back and everything is the same. But it took me very, very long for that. And I realized my state of nervous system when I had this encounter with the horses, because sometimes I didn't feel that I was nervous, but they mirrored me. And so I thought, okay, there must be more, there is more. And so the true thing is, as I told you before, it's a kind of language for the nervous system. And if we talk about the nervous system, so we talk about emotions. They read emotions. And I think that makes it really helpful in the situation where you are in a new country, everything is new. It's a kind of like hiding oneself a little bit, because you're so overwhelmed with everything, and you lose a little bit the contact to your inner needs. And for this, it's really super, super effectful to have the horses mirroring what really happens in you at the moment. And so that was a part of the question, I hope, but maybe you can help me. There was one more question.
Sure. Sorry. Yeah, that was a long question. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, I just wanted to ask you a question based on what you just said right now. You said so the horses will mirror your emotions. So sometimes you're not even aware that you are, stressed out or nervous or unhappy, especially as you touched upon as an expat. These are common feelings that we experience, right? Or emotions that we experience when we move abroad. So how was a horse picking up on this? Was it reacting like also like nervously because it was picking up on those emotions that were buried deep down inside you? I was just curious, how does a horse react to someone who may not outwardly be showing any signs of stress but has all these emotions internally?
Yeah, so stress has a lot of faces. We always think, oh, if you're in a stress, it's like being hyper vigilant or something. But in my case, it was like the horse didn't do anything, and I was really sad about it, because I think, oh, I'm experienced. The horse should come to me, and I learned to read that he told me he just stand beside me in a couple of meters. And so, and the teacher, Linda, she told me, okay, he's not uninterested. There is a kind of interest, because horses always are interested in the environment. They are herd animals. They always connect. But what he is doing is like holding space for you. I think you're a person who needs at the moment more space. And that was true. That was my learning. I was so hyper functional with being for my family, helping my kid, and organizing everything. And I needed more space for me. That was my part. And of course, with the other students, you could see other reactions. Some really had the contrast that the horse was very, very fast and everything, because this person tried to not to show that she was very, very nervous. And yeah, so it's very individual.
Right, right. No, that's interesting. And how many classes did you take, with this at this equine facilitated learning program
Yeah.
before you started feeling like more comfortable with living abroad, with being an expat? I believe in Seattle. How many classes? And also now that you do the same thing, you teach other expats
Mhm,
to do
mhm,
something similar. How long do you think the process takes? How often do you need to work with the horse? Because
mhm.
there might be people watching or listening to this interview that uh, would be interested in going down the path you took to help them, settle into their new life abroad. So would love your response to this question.
Now, back. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, to be honest, the first success was really the very first time, and I think that's really with everybody, because um, it's so impressive what happens. So you get a little bit like having a bigger picture now, and that makes a kind of desire for you, because then you know, okay, this could be my path now. And to really have the feeling of rulers have settled down, no, it takes longer, but that's individual. But you get deeper and deeper with every time. So for me, the first time was maybe really the deepest, because what happens in the situation with the horse, you have to go, and you do that out of your brain, and you go back to your body. And if you go back to your body, that's the first step for settling down somewhere. Because I really had, in the first months, and even I think the first year in Portland, for me it was like a feeling like not having a contact with the feet to my ground. I didn't know what that means, but it was really, yeah, because I was so overwhelmed and always thinking and preparing and everything. And I think that's it, coming back to the body, because they horses communicate with the body and not with your brain. And that is very effectful at the first time, and then you can deepen that more and more, of course. And I think it depends how long the first workshop will have time for you. So I had a weekend, which was very impressive. After that, I was really okay, a big step for me. Yeah, if you don't only have a couple of hours, it's maybe not so deep for you. Yeah.
And then after that, did you feel feel more comfortable in your life as an expat, like those feelings of homesickness or feeling overwhelmed, feeling like you didn't belong, did those get better?
Yeah. So the first what I felt was really because my main problem at that moment was a little bit, um, I always wanted to have my kid, my child, so much, and I lost a little bit the healthy distance. Yeah, you need a little bit of the distance. And when I came back from my first workshop from Arizona, it was like having a new relationship to her. She could understand me better, and vice versa. And yeah, that was the first thing with the relationship. And then what happened was, for getting out of the isolation, for me was there there was a vision the first time, because maybe that's the reason why I focus at the moment more on the expat partners, because they don't go maybe abroad for a vision like the career of the partner. And I got back that there is something for me in this country. I have a vision now. I want to do something. And yeah, if you have a vision, I think that's the best to have, yeah, to be better with your isolation, and to come to feel back your own power again. So I couldn't say that I never felt lonely again. Of course not, but I was able to regulate that. I knew, okay, that's at the moment, but later on it will pass, and that helped a lot. And it was not so much, at the beginning it was like being up and down, very, very, very strong. And I think the up and down was a little bit flat then as well.
No, that makes sense. I mean, things don't disappear, but you learned how to deal with the
Yeah,
situations
to
and
regulate. Yeah, yeah.
yes, and control them. That's really cool. And in your title for today's interview is feeling safe. So I wanted to ask you, how does that relate to the equine facilitated learning for expat partners, the whole feeling safe? What exactly do you mean by that when you went through the training, or if someone else goes through it as an expat partner, how do they start feeling safe?
Yeah, so just let me tell a little bit about feeling not safe. So for me, what gave me a kind of feeling like, oh, it really can be dangerous. In Portland was I never heard about earthquakes. We don't
Okay.
have that.
Right.
So Germany is more safe with a natural yeah, dangerous situations. And that really brought me to the knees when my daughter came home from school. Oh, we had a earthquake alarm or something, and what's that? Yeah, no, America is waiting for the big one, and yeah, so that was really, and I think that's typical for expat. Maybe in other countries with some special things, that the environment can really be dangerous as well. Yeah. And the other part is dangerous is like what I tried to express before. Everything which is familiar is not dangerous, and everything new is a kind of, ooh, maybe not. And horses, they are kind of masters for the questions, am I safe? Because they are flight animals. And they always scan the environment about, is it safe? Is it not safe? And what they do, if there's a dangerous situation, they go in the flight modus. And for that, they have to accelerate everything in their body. It's really a power. And then after that, what do they then? And no, people don't realize it very much. They go grazing. And they have to do it 16 hours, by the way, to have back their energy. And they do that in a very lovely way. If you are around horses grazing, you feel this you really feel the love, and you feel the feeling of, hey, it's safe now, it's good now. They don't have to know a lot about safetiness, they just feel it. And if you are in this environment of a living being giving this deep safe or security, that's a kind, yeah, it's really a kind of healing.
That makes sense because I know the fight and flight that animals face, and I guess horses might be right on the top of that list of fight or flight or
Because they're
flight or
flight animals, yeah.
yeah,
And if they
yeah,
feel safe, it is safe.
right. No,
They
that's
would
very
realize,
interesting.
yeah.
Very. And also, as you said about the environment, like I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I've been here for 21 years. You kind of get used to it because maybe initially the earthquakes seem scary, but I can imagine when you move to another country and they have, it could be safety being a woman, or it could be safety in terms of environmental issues, or, other kinds of ethnic violence that's happening there. So
Yeah,
I love that you brought that in about feeling safe. That plays such an important role as well in
yeah,
your life as an expat. So for people who want to, they're listening to this and they're like, oh, I maybe want to try this. I don't know whether it's pronounced, I should have checked it out, equine or equine facilitated learning. Is this available all over the, not all over the world, but how can people
yeah.
find these trainings? You said that you went to the one in Arizona, but again, our audience is global. Maybe some
Mhm.
people have the means to travel, or maybe some people can't afford it, but they can be around horses by maybe going to a farm, or there are these horse riding uh, uh, whatever, horse riding programs. Do you have to go through a facilitated learning? And so my two questions, I know I asked you a lot of questions. How can people find out about these facilitated learnings with horses? Or if they don't have the budget, can they just hang around with a horse for a few hours and maybe just feel
Mhm.
better about what they're going through? I'd love to know your
Mhm.
responses to that.
Okay, I think the first is always if you get in touch with maybe with this awareness that you love horses, and then you feel only if you see a horse, oh, there's a feeling you just feel like an energy. And I really want to encourage people, then just try it. Be maybe at the other, of course, of the other side of the fence, if you're going on a hike, on a walk, and there is a horse just grazing, and you have the chance to be, of course, safety on the other side of the fence. But yeah, take a deep breath, and it would help. Even that would help. So if you have no money, for example, because it can be expensive. And to be honest, I'm not so much about riding at the moment, because I love this other connection with horses. So you can just ask. There are a lot of farms, and in America as well, because I know it now, which offer a special way. Maybe it's called a little bit in another word, but they offer it maybe, or you just could ask, hey, can I just come for a couple of hours on Saturdays just to be around there, because horse people are mostly very friendly. And of course, there is from the Epona Quest instructors, they're worldwide, really. So if you really want to have this special session, you can do that. And yeah, I think so. You have step one, step two, step three. You can do everything, but I think it starts really with your awareness. If you hear from this interview, oh, that is something that yeah, sounds familiar to me. I want to do it. I love horses. Then, yeah, you can just go deeper in your awareness if you ever meet a horse again. And yeah, they will tell you something, I'm sure. And what I offer is because, of course, I do it in Stuttgart, but of course, it's only in Stuttgart. Um, I offer it at the moment with a kind of I do the coaching with meditation, and some people like to have a meditation with horses, which is nice and which is very, very helpful. And of course, that's another chance to do it. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. So you're offering equine facilitated learning with meditation involved with horses. I
Yeah,
love
so
that.
it's not it's to be honest, it's not really then an EFL. It's really more I call it horse meditation, because I can read a little bit if there is a meditation and the client tells me, oh, now I see a horse in a stable. I can read a little bit the meaning of it, or if it is a horse in a stable or a horse in wilderness and what they are doing. It's yeah, they are archetypes. Really, because they're together with human beings since millions of years. And I think every human has a special impression of, oh, horse, that means, yeah. So
That's
that's
your meditation.
my
Sorry
work.
to interrupt. Your
Yes.
meditation is they meditate not with the horse but about a horse, right?
Yeah, so if
Okay.
I do it online, of course, if
Okay.
I do it
Okay.
online. So to make it a little bit easier for people who don't have the chance to go to a stable, to a horse barn, and who wants to do it, and of course, people who are open for a horse meditation, of course, because other people maybe think, oh, that's a little bit, yeah, I don't know.
I love it. I love that. I mean, that is so unique. I've never heard of
Yeah,
meditation about horses, and obviously it's worked. And so we
yeah,
are,
yeah.
yeah, we are at the end of our 30 minutes. So I want you to share how, more about how people can learn about your work, where they can find you, and also if you can also share uh, what you mean by family goes for career. So when you're explaining how people can find you, what exactly does family goes for career stand for? Because I know it's in your title, and we were so focused on the equine facilitated learning, we
Yeah.
didn't talk about that. And I just also wanted to thank you for sharing the key takeaway about, even if you can't afford to do this learn facilitated learning with horses, you could
Mhm.
find a horse and hang around it for a while. So thank you for sharing that key takeaway, because I know that there are horses all over the world, and so maybe people
Mhm.
can try that out if they're feeling overwhelmed with their expat life, and
Yeah.
maybe visit a farm, and maybe even volunteer, because I know sometimes you can go and help out at some farms and maybe help cleaning the horses or changing their feed. And so I really appreciate you sharing that key takeaway. So yeah, so go ahead and let us know how people can work with you, how they can find you, and what family goes for career.
Yeah, so I just don't know how can I share here something I don't know, because on Facebook with my family for goes for career community. It's is it here something to can people see that now? I don't know.
So you just tell us
Yep.
verbally, and then we will add all the links
Okay.
in the show
So
notes.
it's the Facebook page, and there is a community. And in this community, I go a little bit deeper at the moment for expat partners, and it's at the moment not about horses. It's about an advent calendar with a nice little impulse for every day to but that so let me explain my EFL is really I have a 3 month program coaching program for expat partners um, online, and the EFL is a bonus workshop in Stuttgart, of course. If you are in Germany, that's great. And if not, there's only the online coaching program. And family goes for career. That's a part of my story, because I think the reason why we go abroad is for a kind, mostly for a kind of career, is maybe it's your career or of your partner. And I think to go abroad for a job, maybe in America it's typical, for Germans it's not. But it's a special dynamic for every family. It's really a special dynamic, because it's like having another child. If there is the career of one person, which is very important, there's a lot of time for that. And nobody really sees that at the moment. Even if you go to some coaching programs, it's a family coaching or something. I think it's underestimated. And so I came to that it belongs together with a desire to go abroad for a job. That are so typical things you can talk about each other with expats. But so I have friends, they don't have any clue why I did that, for example. Wow, you leave your home only for the career of your husband. So that's it, yeah. And so for me, it was like a puzzle, like a mosaic. So every little stone, um, there was one stone that was doing something for the families with careers. Then the next one, like going abroad. Then the next one, being an expat partner. And I try to do that like a mosaic for families going abroad for the career of one person, or maybe then two persons and their
But that
kids.
that makes total sense, and yeah, thank you for explaining that. And we are at the end of our 30 minutes, so I want to
Mhm.
thank you so much for joining us, Victoria, on this Expat Woman show, and sharing about equine facilitated learning and your own journey, and especially about the whole working with horses. And we will share all the links in the comments. Victoria Mertens' business is also featured on the Expat Woman website under resources. So you can also find her there. And I want to thank everyone who's joined us live or who'll watch or listen to the replays. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of the day, evening, night. Bye.
Bye.